I just played a little Blackbird from Beyonce's latest Cowboy Carter. And what I love about Beyonce is that, first of all, she is literally poking a finger in the eye of the people who are just so pressed to be pressed. But also, she's paying homage. She pays homage, it seems like, every album to Lemonade with Black Panthers and Becky with the, hair and the good hair. And then, it was a little Ashun and little Arisha with the next album. And now there's a nod with this Blackbird song. I don't think a lot of people know the history. So let me welcome in someone who is, I'm gonna call her a culture commentator. Yeah, she comments on the culture a lot. She also is a writer for the Hub.News, and she's a spoken word poet who's out there in the streets saying some things. Let me welcome back to the show, Kyla Janae Lacey. Hi.
Hi. I probably thought that introduction was about me.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I would say your name first. Are you a Beyonce fan or person that likes her?
You can't say that you're not. Like, that's illegal.
Well, I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan. I respect. I like some songs, but no, I'm not going to a concert ever, and I'm not buying cowboy outfits.
As not necessarily a fan of hers, right? I have been to one of her concerts, which was one of the greatest concerts, and I'm a concert person. I love a good concert. And her concert was, I think it was the Formation Tour, was amazing. But in terms of like music, there's definitely songs that I really like by hers, but she's definitely not, I'm not like how my best friends are about her. They're very big Beyonce fans. Okay. And I'm like, you know what? She's cool.
I felt that way about Michael Jackson. Some people felt that way about Prince, like being fans. Like I know what it feels like to just consume everything somebody does and just love them. Janet, there was a moment, it was like, yes, everything. And I've seen her in concert like 4 or 5 times, I'm not, Beyonce's not that for me, but maybe for this generation. And I like, maybe it's a generational thing too.
I'm big on Rihanna, but I also recognize that Beyonce is probably musically more talented, and is probably not the best word, but I think we can say she's musically more talented. But there's stuff about Rihanna that I like a little more. But I respect Beyonce's work ethic and how she does pay homage to the whatever culture she is kind of immersing herself in at the time.
And I don't even think she's immersing, because that HBCU marching band era is what I mean. Like, I feel like what she's doing is pulling moments so that we can have a discussion, which I think is super brilliant. She's at a place in the age as a mother of these 3 children where I think her responsibility is greater than just being an artist. Although that's what art is, it should challenge us in ways. I think good art, even if, and I'm not going to get into who's more talented, because I think that is why we are in the place that we are in right now, that all of this versus stuff, like it doesn't matter, because it's an opinion. At the end of the day, talent, is very, very subjective, right?
Absolutely.
You can't measure it. So whatever that person moves in you, like when I hear Listen, that song takes me someplace when she sings that song from Dreamgirls. And I'm like, yes. And yes, Beyonce, yes.
I'm like that about Speechless by her on, I don't even know what album it's on, but it's I'm very serious
so
about that song.
Wherever the art takes you is beautiful. And with this particular album, whether it's country or not, is silly, because all of these terms are made up. What the hell is country music? What the hell is Christian music versus gospel? It's all made up for marketing, just like black and white, right? So I'm not engaging in that. I'm saying this woman is paying homage to something that I want to lean into. And Paul McCartney, this is a remake of a Paul McCartney song where she's using the actual music. And so I wanted to play, because I didn't know. I've been very critical on these airways of Paul McCartney because of how he treated Michael Jackson. Because again, I'm a Michael Jackson fan. So I'm going to do something.
Took his masters, though.
He didn't take his masters. Shut up, Smiz. He didn't take his masters. When he asked him, listen, this is the genius of Michael Jackson. He had a conversation, and because Paul McCartney did not, to me, value Michael's brain, he gave him all of the secret sauce. Oh, this is the masters, and what did the masters do, Paul? Well, this is how you blah, 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 blah. So when he went out and bought them, why didn't Paul buy his own masters? Don't be
Because
mad.
Michael bought them.
Okay,
Well,
but he had the
afford them.
opportunity. So he couldn't
right. He
afford
asked
them.
Michael for
Right.
the money. And then
Smiz,
Michael
don't you
was
bring your
like,
ass in here. Get out, Smiz. I don't care anymore because I'm about to praise Paul McCartney because that's what nimble thinkers do. I'm not staying in offense because Paul McCartney mad because somebody you had the opportunity. You could have leveraged your house. It wasn't valuable to you. It was valuable to Michael Jackson, who got his, Chuck Berry's, Little Richards, went and got
yeah.
everybody's masters, and now they are back in the hands of Sony. I'm gonna put that over there for a second because family, y'all don't value the things you need to value. Michael Jackson understood the power of these masters, and now Sony got him back. How we gonna maybe have that conversation another day? That's not for today. But I wanted to praise Paul McCartney because this song Blackbird, and this is why momentum of memory is important. This is why understanding history is important. This is why telling a full story. So Beyonce has this song, this album out. Blackbird is on it. It's a nod to Paul McCartney. And here's what Paul McCartney said about creating this song. Play that clip.
Blackbird, I was sitting around my acoustic guitar and I'd heard about the civil rights troubles that were happening in the 60s in Alabama, Mississippi, Little Rock in particular. So that was in my mind, and I just thought it'd be really good if I could write something that, if it ever reached any of the people going through those problems, it might kind of give them a little bit of hope. So I wrote Blackbird. And in England, bird is a girl. So I was thinking of a black girl going through this, now's your time to arise, set yourself free and take these broken wings. One of the nice things about music is that a lot of people listening to you are going to take seriously what you're saying in the song. So I'm very proud of the fact that the Beatles' output is always really pretty positive. And there's hardly anything in there that sort of says, go and screw your parents or whatever. It's always pretty, let it be, Hey Jude, Blackbird. So it's hopefully a good message. I particularly like that. And sometimes when I'm writing songs, I will think there's people out there who are going through some problems, and hopefully people out there will listen to it and think, oh yeah, it's not just me alone going through this. This is something, and also something I can fix.
Motivational Monday on the Karen Hunter Show. I needed to play that clip. I also needed to make space and grace for Paul McCartney, who, again, I've been for years not really feeling, but now I feel, we are nimble enough to give space for people once we know more about them, which is why knowing people is so important. We got to do that work. So now I got a newfound respect for Paul McCartney and Smith's love for the Beatles. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, the lyrics go, take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to be free. And it goes on. And it's like the thought behind him using the civil rights movement and all of the broken girls, the girls that have been assaulted and the disrespect of our people, that this man who was widely influenced by Motown and Little Richard and all of that, and gives homage to those people as well as the reason why they're even the Beatles. They didn't just culturally appropriate, take stuff and not give credit, because art is supposed to be about taking things from the past and bringing it forward. So I'm having a newfound respect for the Beatles and Paul McCartney. And thank you to Beyonce, because I wouldn't have done this deep dive if not for this woman doing this song.
I think my favorite thing, though, I will say about Beyonce is I don't know if it's her, right? Because after also watching the movie, I did gain a newfound respect for her as well. But the chess moves, right? Because it seems like Beyonce has things planned years in advance, like these movements and Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and like even her outfit at the Grammys, right? Like everything is so planned out, but it's so immediate to us. Like it's so like, all right, I'm going to drop something. And I really, really enjoy like the element of surprise, but also knowing that it's something that's been really well crafted and planned out over time.
And I think there's a blueprint there for anybody that wants to be an artist that's coming up. You know, that work ethic that we saw in the documentary leading up to Homecoming. That I was like, I was in the pandemic. I was like, this woman, wow, perfectionist.
Both documentaries.
Oh, there's two. I saw
because the recent one from this summer, the Renaissance
I didn't watch
tour.
that one. I didn't read,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Lord have mercy. Okay, I have to check that one out. But it is inspiring because it doesn't happen. I always say perfection is a process. It doesn't just happen because you get up and you're talented. A lot of talented people out there. I just saw the whiz. Everybody in there is talented. They can sing, they can dance, they can do all of the things. But there's something to be said for making of a star. There's that you know, and I saw the Michael Jackson. This is it. There's, you know, documents of him, watching him, how he will sing something over, and the movements, and each movement is, you know, like, that's missing today. I feel like people just go in the studio, little auto tunes, throw some stuff together, little beatbox, little, you know, and it's like, yeah, nah. This kind of lasting success in this industry
takes time,
requires something more of people.
Even like the Beatles, right? So like there's this book called The Outliers, and it talks about putting in your 10,000 hours. And it talks about how the Beatles...
That's Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. But it talks about how the Beatles had to put in all these hours because they were just simply like playing at this thing, but they ended up playing 7 or 8 hours at a time every day, and how that really cultivated them to be the artists that they, you know, became to be.
Yes. Thank you for that. 866-801-8255. So I'm going to support this Cowboy Carter album just for this song alone. Now that she done brought in Jolene, she done got Willie Nelson's ass in there. There's some very peeved people right now who they don't know what to do, because you ain't gonna say nothing bad about Miss Dolly or Willie Nelson. Or Willie Nelson will hand you your ass, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to the fellow Torian. That said, yes, they're in a kerfuffle right now because they're in a conundrum. They don't know what to do because they want to hate Beyonce, but you can't hate the game, y'all. Hate the game, not the player. I love it.
It'll be interesting to see too when she goes on tour, because some people are like, I'm not finna fight this person for, you know, there's been white people that's been commenting on it like, I'm not finna fight them over tickets. But I think it's kind of a weird space because you want them to acknowledge how great she is, right? You want them to acknowledge that this is a great piece of art, which they are doing, and accept her in that space. But then you can't be upset with what that, you know, if that exception is including fighting them for tickets. You gotta take the good with the bad. You can't say, and you know, this is deserving of accolades and then be mad when everybody wants to celebrate.
I want to say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I want to say yes.